Hello, good evening. It is great to be here. I'm checking things out. I'm trying a bit of a new format tonight. So I'm trying to see if it's working the way I would like it to. So that way I can more easily see your questions, your comments, and respond to them through the course of this um, discussion. So it doesn't seem like that is the case. So give me a second here, and I'm giving you all some time to join in. My name's Dr. Jenn, and for those of you who don't know me, and I am here to talk about how beliefs can be blockers to what we want to achieve and how we want to live in our life, or how our beliefs can boost and really help us connect to how we want to be living our life, and in such a way that we can really enjoy and as well. So I am going to check something here and make sure that I'm seeing what is coming through. Okay. All right. Well, Elaine has joined us. Hello, Elaine. And she just sent a message. I guess I can see it easier through my phone when people are sending messages. So I guess a different screen. And she says she has me on 3 different locations in her home. So that is pretty awesome. So at least I know I can see messages. I am running this alone tonight. Kelly helped me last time, and yeah, so I'm going it alone. Again, learning as we go, and that certainly is part of our belief system. What we believe about learning can really affect how we decide to learn, whether or not we learn new things, whether or not we're willing to step outside our comfort zone. So just to name a couple of examples. So Elaine, and for others who join as I continue to talk, if you have questions, if you have comments, feel free to share them. And because this is an opportunity, to learn what we all can, because I always learn from these conversations myself. Any interaction with someone else, with clients that I'm working with, I walk away having learned as well. So I see this as a learning opportunity tonight for me too. So feel free to ask your questions and make your comments as we move forward. And I'm trying to give people a few more minutes because just to join us, so that way we're not like midstream and people join us at that time. So we'll give them a couple more minutes. So I don't know, Elaine, if there is anything that you have to ask. Hello again. Well, I'll share a little bit about then how beliefs show up when I'm working with clients, how they show up for me, and how they show up in my life and how I move forward. And I'm seeing notifications. So let me see if I can. Oh, Kelly's joining us. Hello, Kel. I'm going to see if. Okay. I wanted to make sure that the notifications I was seeing popping up weren't for this conversation, but they're not. So beliefs are a big part of how I help people move forward, how I help people clear what's no longer serving them, remove blocks, remove obstacles for what they're wanting to create in their life. And beliefs is one of the ways that we do that. Through my own experience, have discovered how beliefs can totally, direct the way we move in our life. And considering it's a little after 5, I guess I'll get started. my work in using beliefs has led me to uncover a belief that has, well, like I said, has affected me throughout my entire life. And that belief was I did not belong. And I was aware of this belief probably 6 months to a year ago, like really clear that this belief had affected me and how I moved through my life, the decisions I made through my life. But it literally was in the past few weeks that I really understood the depth of how it affected my life and from what age. Now, if you are wondering what beliefs are and how they can affect how you move through your life, a really easy one, well, for me anyway, is you may wonder why money's not coming into your life, and your belief around it, or something that you say and you might not even realize is a belief, is money is the root of all evil. Well, if you believe that money is the root of all evil and you're wondering why money is not coming into your life, it could be because you're not evil. Just to give you an example. Now, as I said, my belief was I did not belong. And what I discovered in the last few weeks is that I made that decision about the age of 3, that I did not belong. And at that point, it was I did not belong with my biological family. And I obviously, at the age of 3, did not come to that decision through, well, logical thought like we use now as an adult. I used the capacity that I had as a child, and I would say on a subconscious level, if not conscious. I certainly don't remember making this decision, but it occurred at the time that my youngest sister, I'm the oldest of 3, and it's all girls, and the age of 3, my youngest sister, well, I guess it was actually 4, my youngest sister was born. And at that time, I started visiting my grandparents regularly. I would often spend the night, I would often spend weekends visiting with them. And while on one hand, I thought that was fun, and I thought I was, well, probably special because I was the only one doing that, at some point, as life continued to unfold, and I found myself, the way I perceived it, being treated differently than my sisters. Again, I would go to my grandmother's, my sisters would stay at home. And what I decided was I did not belong. That decision continued, and I started collecting evidence that I didn't belong. My father started treating me differently than my sisters. Again, a perception, maybe a true perception, but a perception which further confirmed my belief that I did not belong. As I went to school, if I saw people my age, friends or fellow students, not picking me, for instance, or not including me in a project, or not being invited somewhere, again, further solidified that belief that I didn't belong. Now, as circumstances continued throughout my childhood into my teen years, and, well, always feeling like I was the outsider. Again, that belief I didn't belong. What I started to do was make other decisions. And on a subconscious level, those decisions were, well, if I don't belong, then I really don't want to belong. I want to be different. I want to stand out. And what I discovered is that in making that decision to stand out or to be really different from others, that I gave myself a buffer. I gave myself a reason that I chose that I didn't belong, versus someone confirming for me that I didn't belong. Does that make sense? I hope it does. If it doesn't, feel free to say, can you explain that a little bit more as I continue through this because, of course, this is all going on in my head. And as I got older and continued to gather that evidence that I didn't belong in some form or another, I came from a different town. I went to a regional high school. We didn't fit in as easily as the town that the school was in. A lot more students in that town. We were certainly a minority. Again, confirmation. We didn't have access to sports at my elementary school like we did at the high school. And so I didn't fit in there. And that just continued throughout my life to the point that I, again, continued to make conscious decisions about not wanting confirmation that I didn't belong, not wanting confirmation that I wasn't good enough, because that feeling of not belonging then created the belief that I was not enough, that I was somehow not worthy, that others were better than me, and that I would maybe befriend people that I somehow felt I was better than them, or I would create scenarios where I could convince myself that I was better than them. And again, that provided a separation between me and others. And I can remember as I moved from high school into working after high school, maybe some college classes that I took, again, always feeling like I was the kid at the back of the room or standing on the wall or not sure what to say. And it continued to perpetuate that belief of not belonging. So the choices that I made, both for school, for work, for friendships, were based on this belief. I chose leadership roles because then I could belong in an organization but still stand apart from others because I never truly fit in. I chose management positions at work. Again, management is not supposed to interact and communicate and go out and have fun per se with people that they supervise. So that was the reason that I created that I didn't become friends with a lot of people. And it was always in the back of my mind, this question of why can't I make friends easily? Why do people maybe not realize that I'm pretty fabulous? I'm at least nice, or yeah, these were the thoughts that were going on in my head, that I'm a nice person. So why do I find it so difficult to meet new people? Why do I find it so difficult to make friends? Why am I not invited to do things with others? And as you can see, there's a scenario that continues. And this led to challenges when I returned to school to become a chiropractor, and it also led to challenges when I graduated, because then I moved into a new town. I have to start this new business. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that I'm a doctor. I don't know people in the town that I moved to, in this town that I live in now, that I absolutely love. Hello, Donna. Hello, Lisa. And this led to challenges because if I'm going to create situations where people cannot confirm I don't belong, I always put this buffer in place. I always put this distance between me and others. I always, what I've come to realize, had this energy of, ooh, I don't know that I want to put myself out there. I don't know that I want to be vulnerable. I don't know how close I want to get to people, because if I get close to people, then they may confirm again for me that I don't belong. And the possibility that somebody may actually confirm this for me was horrifying. Now, part of you may be wondering, like, how does this happen? These are not conscious thoughts, or at least not that underlying belief of I don't belong, not from the standpoint of, oh, this belief is leading me to make these choices throughout my life. I literally can create a timeline of events and a timeline of choices that I've made, and realized that I made them with these beliefs as the foundation. So as I said, I'm opening this practice, I'm starting to build this business, and I'm hearing how, hey Kathy, I'm hearing how, like, my colleagues, they're doing so well and practice is taking off and mine's not. So at that point, what do I decide? Well, I'm going to do chiropractic like nobody else does chiropractic. I'm going to have a different perspective. And, I'm telling myself these things. And because I'm telling myself these things, then, well, no, I don't want to go hire a chiropractic coach, because then the chiropractic coach can tell me that I'm doing it wrong, that there's something wrong with me. And so I try to go it alone. And so as you can see from these examples that I'm giving you, that I made these decisions for 48 years based on these underlying beliefs that I didn't belong. And that's where I now ask myself the question. And what's interesting is, now that I know that this belief exists, this belief of I don't belong, leading to these other beliefs of not being good enough or not being worthy, then the question is, now what can I do to have my beliefs support how I move forward from this point on? I realized, like, okay, I can't go back and change these 48 years. I can't go back and change that belief system and what it created for 48 years. So what can I do now? And one of the things that I've been working on in these last weeks is creating that new belief system. And with that new belief system, deciding I do belong. And I often remind myself at this point, any place I am, I belong. One of the beliefs that I work with, and I have a number of them that I work with, and those of you who are here tonight who already work with me know that every session that I have with someone, and I do this with myself, I'm checking in on beliefs to make sure that they're aligned physically, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally on a conscious and subconscious level. Because if they're aligned, then it's easier to move forward. Now, my belief of me belonging, my belief of me being enough, my belief of being worthy are beliefs that are aligned physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, consciously, and subconsciously. And yet, there can still be challenges to moving forward. I now have to take that belief, because it's one thing to have it in your mind, it's one thing to be aware of it, but now I have to own it within all of me, the essence of me, the being of me, and I have to make different choices as a result. So one of the things that I have recently been doing is taking action or taking steps to step outside my comfort zone, to put myself in front of new people, to introduce myself to new people. Some of you, well, I don't know, well, Kelly knows that I started a belly dance class a couple of weeks ago. It was something I was interested in, and it's something I've been wanting to do. I'm seeing Lisa's question over here. She says, do you realize the mindset change you've given a few of us? Well, if I understand that question correctly, Lisa, something I've said has made a click with you. And if that's the case, let me know, and I'm really glad to hear it if that is. And that's one of the reasons for sharing my story, is I wanted to give you some real life examples, because I've known for a really long time that beliefs and our belief system affects how we live and move through our life. And even though I was aware that I had this belief of I didn't belong, I didn't understand the depth of how it was affecting the way I move through my life. Because even though I realized I made decisions to keep people at a distance for so much of my life, and now that I'm aware that belief's there, it's not easy. Well, I won't say that because I don't want to make that a belief. I have to be aware not only of my thoughts, but I also have to be aware of the decisions that I'm making on how I move forward. And that means, I'll get back to the story I was saying, making choices to step outside my comfort zone, making choices to put myself in front of new people. So that way I can bring this new energy, this new awareness, this new belief system into action, into being, so that way I can create new patterns of behavior and bring how I want to be living into my life into being. And one of the things that I want in my life is really fabulous, awesome people that I can interact with, not only in my practice, but also in life in general. And let me make sure that I'm seeing all the comments. Okay. So for those of you who have come in mid-story, yes, I'm talking about beliefs. I'm talking about whether they block us, because as you're hearing in my story, the belief of me not belonging did block me from making a lot of decisions that I may have made if I didn't have that belief. I see it as, if I didn't put that distance between myself and others, that I would have interacted with more people. I would have stepped outside my comfort zone more often, because I wouldn't have been afraid of somebody confirming for me that I didn't belong, for instance. I might have been more spontaneous. I like to think that I would be, that I would have tried a lot more new things, and not always relying on a buddy or somebody to come with me, for instance. So if there is a question that you have about beliefs, if there are thoughts that you have about beliefs, I absolutely want to hear them. Feel free to post them in the comments, whether it's something personal to you or something that you want to ask in general. I would like to hear it. I know I've been talking probably a mile a minute, because once I get going, I can really get going. So does anybody have a thought or question that they want to ask about beliefs and how they can block or boost, or how they might be in your own life right now? Okay, I'm not seeing too much action here on the post. So what's interesting is beliefs are constantly operating throughout the day, throughout our everyday thoughts, our everyday actions. And we often don't even know how they can impact our life or how they may be affecting our life, because we get so used to saying certain phrases. I mean, I can absolutely remember, hello Beaver, welcome. I can absolutely remember when I used to say money is the root of all evil. And not a great belief to have when you're opening a practice and working for yourself and wondering why money is not coming in. Or I talked about being enough. And what's interesting, again, even though I know that this belief has been operating in my history, in my past, of not being enough, to create and solidify this new belief pattern within me, I decided to be part of a photo shoot that a local photographer is doing. And the photo shoot, or the theme, is I Am Enough. And she is pulling people from the area to be part of this, this photo shoot. And she gave us some information as far as what to wear, so that way we'll stand out in the pictures, not our clothes per se. And one of the things that she said was to wear solids. Well, as you can see, I don't wear solids. I like color and I like prints. I like fun. So I looked in my closet and pretty much was like, oh shit. I don't have too much solid in my wardrobe to be able to wear to this photo shoot. And it's a 10-minute photo shoot. We're not talking like this whole spread or anything. And since this photo shoot has come up, I have really been giving myself a hard time of what do I wear? What do I wear? What do I wear? What do I wear? Well, if I own this belief, that I am enough, it doesn't matter what I wear. It doesn't matter. Yes, I want to look nice for a picture, but when it really comes down to it, it doesn't matter. So I've been working through that over the last couple of days of just reminding myself, I am enough, no matter how I look, no matter how I show up, no matter what clothes I'm wearing, no matter what job I have. So this is how beliefs can literally show up every day, and we're not always aware of it. Now, I see that Lisa is saying, I just hate that it has taken me so long for my beliefs to come through. I hear you on that. I'm 48 years old, and to realize that I've made so many major decisions in my life based on beliefs without my awareness. Yes, I do get angry, and on some level, I'm very sad. It's one of the reasons I get so excited about the work that I'm doing with people and helping them clear their beliefs, align their beliefs throughout their body and being from earlier. Like some of the people that I'm working with are 5 years old. And so when beliefs are coming up for them, now they're not understanding them consciously like you and I are, but we're able to clear them out and address them at that young age. And can you imagine whatever beliefs that you're aware that you have that have been those blockers? And certainly common ones, I'm not enough, I don't belong. Imagine if that was cleared when you were 5 years old versus 42 or 48, how that would have changed your life. If you felt like you were like that you belonged, imagine how your life would look different. I have people in their 20s and their 30s, 40s and 50s and beyond. And I do have some people who are in their 70s who are just discovering their beliefs and how they've affected their life now. The good news is you can make different choices moving forward. And that's what I certainly would recommend for you, Lisa, is that now that you're aware of these beliefs, and that's the first key piece, is how do you become aware of your beliefs? And if you're just kind of starting to get into this understanding that beliefs are important and beliefs impact our life, there are some things that you can start doing to pay attention. One of them is be aware of what you say. I know I use the example, money is the root of all evil. If you wonder why money's not coming in and that's your thought, you've got to look at your beliefs. A really simple way to start uncovering that is journaling about money and what your thoughts are about money. I just had a brain fart. So that is absolutely one way that you can start. Another, I know the last call that we did, somebody on that Facebook Live asked about resources. One of the resources that I use that helps me uncover beliefs, there's actually a couple that I consider like my foundational materials. One of them is the book, The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. That's been crucial in helping me become aware of what my thoughts are, what my beliefs are. And another is Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. That is another great book. If you're wondering how beliefs can impact your life, those are great places to start looking. Now, Kathy says she wants to know what sign I am. Well, I'm Pisces. So I'm not quite sure how that comes to beliefs because I don't pay too much attention to that. But that is what I am as Pisces. Anybody else have any questions or thoughts about beliefs, wondering how it impacts your life or steps that you can take to move forward? All right, well, I guess I'll continue to share what it is that I've been doing. As I mentioned, journaling. If you are stuck in a particular area of your life, journaling about that, and it's what I call stream of consciousness journaling. You know, if the topic is money, if the topic is health, if the topic is family, literally get a piece of paper and write whatever you think, whatever comes up about each of those topics. And I say stream of consciousness, this is not a time for judgment. It's not a time for worrying about grammar or what others might think. This is private for you. So whatever comes out, comes out. Excuse me. Too much talking. And then go back and read it and see what came out that will surprise you or shock you. And then, hello, Jessica. Hello, Paulo. Yes, Kathy, I am a water sign. And so those are some places to start. Journaling is an excellent way to do that. Another way to move forward in uncovering your beliefs is having conversations with others. I have had conversations with people, for instance, about money. And it's always fascinating from that perspective to ask people what their beliefs are and to find out how they came to those beliefs or what they've uncovered about their beliefs. And one of the reasons for doing that is because you can gain other knowledge, other perspectives that you didn't think of. There are certainly courses out there, webinars out there that you can also take part in, absolutely, that can help uncover these. But just even having a conversation with somebody you trust, somebody, a friend, a family member, wouldn't be a time for like giving advice. This would be a time to really say, like, what are your thoughts about money? Or what are your thoughts about family? Through some of my conversations, hello, Sandra. Through some of my conversations about money, one of the realizations that I had is not only were what I've learned from my parents affecting my interactions about money, but I realized that the town I grew up in had a mindset of its own. It was a really small town, and it had its own energy and it had its own belief system. And one of the things that I recently discovered about the town I grew up in is it's broke. And so here you have a small town. We didn't have a fire department for most of the time that I lived there. And it wasn't until I was in my probably late 20s or early 30s that it had a full-time firefighter. There are about 4 people in the police force. For years, we didn't have a post office. We had to go to school in the next town over because we didn't have a high school. And so there was just this lack mentality that I wasn't even aware of until having conversations with some others about their perceptions and experiences with money. So having conversations about that can lead you to further awareness as far as uncovering or discovering what your hidden beliefs, because a lot of times what can be so frustrating, I'll say, or challenging about beliefs is sometimes they're really obvious. Like if you're saying money is the root of all evil, that, yeah, I mean, you're saying it out loud. You can hear it, other people can hear it. At the same time, as you uncover and make different choices about those really obvious beliefs, then the conversation is not so obvious. It may not be things that you say out loud. It may be things that are more subtle, that, yeah, are almost like a whisper. So it's really important that if you find that your thoughts, how do I say this? Well, the way I'll say it is, if, for instance, and money seems to be an easy one, because, well, because it is. We all want money to some degree or another, and could, in a lot of cases, could use more money, could want more money, so we can travel around the world or whatever else it is that we want to do. So what I would say is, one way to understand what your belief systems are that you might not be fully aware of is to pay attention what's going on around you. So I had this example happen the other night, and let me see if I made a note about it. I don't know if I can find it easily. Well, I can't find it, but sorry, I have so many things going on. I think I need to stop and breathe for a second. Which, as I continue, this is an excellent point. One of the reasons that we're not always aware of our beliefs is because we go, 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 go. We don't stop. We're not great at giving us the time and space to be aware of a lot of the thoughts that are going on in our head. We're thinking about what we need to get done, what we've got to do next, what are the deadlines, what projects are we working on, what do we have to complete, what do we have to do for somebody else. I mean, there's so much responsibility, there's so much that we choose to have on our plates, that sometimes we get going at such a pace that we're not even aware of what's going on up here. Or if we're aware of what's going on up here, we're not aware of what's going on in here. And I say that because part of my journey right now in working through my awareness of and my choice to say I belong, end of story, is how do I move forward and take it from a belief here that's in our mind to a belief I know here. We've got to make sure our mind and our body are on the same page. We've got to make sure that they're aligned. And we've got to make sure that, yeah, what we're thinking here, we feel here. Because if we think it and feel it, and it feels good, and it resonates, and it's aligned, then we can move forward easier with that new belief system. Does that make sense? Let me see. Okay, Paulo made a comment that, yes, our beliefs can change the experiences that we go through. One of the things that I've been doing in the last couple of days to give myself a reminder to take the belief from not just being in my head, because it's not enough to say, I belong. If the rest of us isn't on board, if all of us is not on board, it's not enough to just have that thought here. We can repeat something again and again and again to ourselves. We can be positive about it and say, oh yes, you know, this is the way it's going to be. I can claim it. I belong. I am enough. We've got to bring it to this point of feeling it throughout our entire body and being, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally, consciously and subconsciously. Because it's when we get here, and it's here, and it's aligned here, that it makes the difference. So one of the things that I've been doing over the last few days, and if you've been in my office or been around me, you've probably heard my phone alarm go off. And I was meeting a friend this morning, and it went off, and she goes, oh, she's like, is everything okay? And I said, yes. I said, that's my alarm to remind me of this belief that I'm working with. And the current belief that I'm working with is what I desire, I manifest. Again, I have this thought in my head. I believe it in my head that what I desire, I manifest. But right now it's here. Right now it's just in the logical mind. And part of it is like, oh, wouldn't that be nice? And so I want to bring it into my being and really own that I have the power to manifest what I desire. I have the power to manifest what I desire and feel that within me. So I know I've been putting a lot of thoughts out there. I've given you a number of examples and shared with you some of the steps that I have taken personally to take subconscious beliefs, bring it into the conscious, because that's what's really important. We need to bring what's subconscious or unconscious into the conscious, and then release it, let it go, determine what belief is true for us, what resonates for us, and claim it as ours. And then we have to have it aligned physically, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally within our body and being, within who we are as a whole. Sometimes people come in and say, well, you know, I have this belief, I've been working on this belief, I've had this belief all my life, and why can't I still not get what I want? Or why am I not moving forward? Why am I stuck? And often it comes to something that has to be let go, something that has to be released. And it could be something that occurred when you were 3, or when you were 5, or 20, or hell, it could have been something that was passed down from your ancestors, or even came through from a past life. And I know for some of you that might be a little bit out there, and for others you absolutely get that, and that's okay. We're all in different places and have different belief systems. But it's important that we clear out what's not serving us and what's stuck and what's can be like a scar or trauma, again, from something that we might not even remember. All right, so I'm going to take a drink of water here and just put out there. Again, if you have questions, if you have thoughts, if you're wondering what beliefs you might be stuck with, or that might be blocked, let me know. Who's still here? If you're here, just say hey, and what I'll do is I will do a quick check-in using my intuition and ability to check in with your body and see what beliefs might be coming up for you to be addressed. This is something that I do in my practice. It's something I do with my clients, whether it's somebody I see in person or somebody that I talk to on the phone. I do work with people remotely. There are some people that I have never met in person. All right, so let's see. We've got Paulo. All right, Paulo, let's see what beliefs are coming up for you. I'm pulling up I have a belief list, for those of you who don't know this, that I've been creating over a period of years at this point. So that way, as different people that I work with, as different beliefs come up for them that I believe are probably underlying issues for others. Sandra, yes, I discovered that when I let go, absolutely, things manifest the fastest. Yes, I often say we've got to let go of the shit. To me, shit is, everything that's not serving us. So that way we can make room for the fabulous to come in. All right, so let's see, Paulo. All right, what belief is coming up? Paolo, I hope it's okay that I share this, so that way people can see, yeah, what we might not even be aware of can come up in our beliefs that are affecting how we move through our day and through our lives. So Paolo, the belief that's coming up for you is, I own my power in my conversations. That you own your power in your conversations. And thank you for being okay with sharing it. Let's see, Kathy, what belief is coming up to be addressed for you? All right. So Kathy, for you, what is coming up is that you show up in your full value, that you have faith in your value, that you know you have value. So that's coming up. And that you have value just because you exist, just because you're you. All right, let's see, Cal. What's coming up for Cal? Cal, what's coming up is it is safe to make mistakes. That's coming up for you. And then Elaine. Let's see. What's coming up for Elaine? Elaine, what's coming up for you? Yes, Kathy, you do rock. Absolutely. All right. Elaine, what's coming up for you is I trust others. Now, in this particular case right now, the beliefs that are coming up are beliefs that have blocks, that is not currently aligned physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. Again, sometimes with the people that I'm working with in my office, sometimes it's to remove blocks to beliefs, and sometimes it's literally to strengthen or boost that belief. Hey, Cal, yeah. Yes, it is safe to make mistakes. Now, and then let's see, Sandra. What's coming up with Sandra? Sandra. The belief that's coming up that there's a block right now for you is that you have to do your divinity, not just know it. And the way I would describe that is that you bring divinity that is you more fully into everything that you do. That you remind yourself that every action, every decision that you make, that you are this divine being and that you own it throughout your entire body and being. And if anybody has any questions about the belief that came up for them, please feel free to ask. Let me see. Yes, and Sandra, I'd go so far as to say too, look at the areas in your life that that things are not flowing, that that what you're seeing feels off, feels somehow, kind of like maybe a little icky, or that's not really how you want it to show up, and see how you can bring your divinity more fully into that, because that would be a mirror for you. And let me know if that makes sense. Now, Elaine, your belief was, yes, the belief statement is I trust people. There's a block to you trusting people. All right. So there's a reason, Elaine. I say a reason. There's something that's coming up that you're not fully trusting the people in your life. All right. Okay, anybody else have any questions, thoughts, comments, anything they might want to know about? All right. And what I shared as far as with Sandra, as far as if you're trying to uncover what beliefs might be blocking you versus what beliefs might be boosting you, look at what's happening in your life. And if there's an area that, yeah, it doesn't feel good, that isn't lining up, that seems to be hard, that, and ask yourself, oh, you're very welcome, Sandra. Ask yourself what that might be mirroring back to you, what that might be showing you. And that would be one way to uncover that belief. Of course, you could have a session with me if you're not already doing that. You could journal. That's another way to do it. If you meditate, you certainly can do that. And if you're meditating and that's the way you get answers, you can literally ask the question, what belief is it time for me to be aware of, or what belief am I not aware of that's contributing to what I'm seeing in my life? All right. Well, it seems like we might be wrapping up. I don't see any more questions, any more comments. Of course, if you do have any, feel free to post these. You're welcome, Paulo. Feel free to post these. And if you think of something after we get off the call, feel free to post it below the video. I will come back to it and respond to it. And to wrap up, if you have not experienced a session with me, and that's something that you're interested in doing, you can contact my office and schedule a complimentary consultation, and we can literally have a conversation about this to see what blocks might be getting in the way of how you want to be living your life, what you want to be creating in your life, and how we can go about boosting those beliefs, to name just one thing. And then the other thing I want to mention is on Monday, the 27th at 7 o'clock is going to be the next live Q&A that I'm going to have. I'm not sure of the topic yet, if there's going to be a specific topic or if we're going to keep it more general. If there is a topic that you have questions about, that you want to know more about, then feel free to let me know. And once I make that decision, I will certainly post it in the comments. So again, if you have not experienced my work and you want to find out more about it, I do offer a complimentary 30-minute consultation, and we can dive into these areas of beliefs and see how they may be blocking you or how they can boost you to create the life that you want to be living, that vibrant, fantastic life. All right. It has been great chatting with you all, and I'm so glad that you joined me. And Paula says, I've enjoyed it from the beginning with Elaine. Yes, I believe many people have similar situations belonging, mostly when you're a kid. Yes, I think our beliefs start very young. In a lot of cases, well, in most cases, I think, before the age of 7, we have so many beliefs that we've decided on that literally contribute to how we move through our life that we're not aware of until, well, in some cases in our 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. So thank you again, everyone, for joining tonight, and I look forward to connecting in the future. All right, I'll talk to you then. Bye.